have to follow up. I never want to cross of like, we're going to think I'm annoying right now.
My thinking is, if you haven't said no to me, like, you still might be interested. People think Gen Zers are lazy, man. Oh, they don't want to go to work. They don't want to work these days. Like, you can't apply that for a whole generation.
Yeah, I may replace like a good chunk of like sales folks, but maybe the salespeople that do remain, they're going to be completely focused on in-person interactions.
This is the Pass the Pitch podcast with Anna Frazzetto. Each episode, we sit down with bold thinkers and industry trailblazers to uncover the strategies, stories, and sparks of inspiration that drive growth and transformation. Let's get started.
This is the fun part. How do we follow up without feeling annoying, right? Because that's something every salesperson struggles with. Like, do you send a quick nudge? Do you add value every single time? How many follow-ups before you're done? All right. So these are all the things that you kind of have to ask yourself. So I'm just curious from your thoughts, what do you think works and doesn't work?
Anna, we're experimenting, or like I'm experimenting on this one, and you're talking to someone that's like at the core, like such a people pleaser. And it's like, that's the fine line I never want to cross of like, dang, these people are going to think I'm annoying right now. But I do know it's like, you have to follow up. So currently right now, what I have found is helpful is just sending little value drops, whether it's like from like a relevant article. Maybe it's like we're around the holidays, so sending like a holiday message. February was like national like random acts of kindness month. So I just sent out a whole bunch of like, hey, I hope you're incredible, amazing, and have the best time ever messages. Just anything that's like positive and not pushy is the way for me. I just want to be on their radar. So when like a good trigger comes up, I can like land the plane and send the meeting is the goal.
I love that. My habit is always like, how do I stay top of mind?
Mm-hmm.
Right. It doesn't have to be. And so doing the monthly touch points, I think that's a great way to approach it. Dylan, from your thoughts?
Yeah, it definitely depends on the channel, but I'm pretty different than Adrian when it comes to this. Like, my thinking is, if you haven't said no to me, like, you still might be interested. So the follow-up just depends on how much like energy I want to invest. Now, that being said, I'm not a fan of just, hey, I'm just checking in. What do you think about this message? Like, all of those push towards an initial message. I won't do that. I want to create something different that's there. So it may not necessarily be value. It may be something funny. It may be something personal. It may be a new ask entirely, right? You forgot the previous message. Okay, you still might be interested. I'm going to send you another relevant message again with a new ask. Right? It might be one of those things, but ultimately, and the more interest they've indicated to me before ultimately not responding, the more I'm going to be following up. And I think in today's day, this makes so much sense because online, people their attention is so divided. So there's just a chance they missed it, but they still might be interested. Now, if someone declines, if someone tells you no, then you should really take that as a sign and be respectful at the end of the day. You have to be respectful. But if you haven't heard from them, no reason, I think, not to.
Exactly. So I love that. And I think that's some of the fundamental difference when you start comparing like, Gen Z approach style versus Gen Y or, millennial, like how does it all match? Credibility with senior buyers. And I think that's one of the topics that I alluded to earlier. How do you build that credibility when you're, earlier on in your career and you're talking to someone who's senior, who might be, a CEO of a company and they've been doing that for the last 20 years. So therefore, like establishing that credibility factor, how do you do that?
I would say like from my experience, like having worked at SIA, like gave me the huge advantage. And what I learned was in-person interactions are by far, in my experience, the best way to go. If I didn't have these events to meet like folks like you, Anna, and like so many of these amazing leaders in the staffing world, I don't think I would have been able to do that. Or at least right now, I don't know how I would, but being in person to do that has been the way to go for me.
Yeah. And I think most people are open to anyone, like when you're talking to them in person, because you establish that level of rapport. Dylan, your thoughts?
Yeah, and I think this is a great question. I think for me, it always comes down to knowledge of the buyer and their space. If you can speak a similar language they speak and understand what they're going through, then you automatically are able to gain trust in an environment where you're unknown and young.
Excellent point. Absolutely, because the credibility becomes the subject matter expertise that you have. I think that's a great approach. So let's talk a little bit about when you talk about Gen Zers, misread or entitled. Let's get real as to what people throw around as labels when we talk. Not to put anybody on the spot here, but what do people misunderstand about Gen Z at work? What gets labeled as entitled, but is really just standards or clarity? I find that to be the case. Like, what do you refuse to tolerate at work that older generations just tolerate?
Yeah, these are some great points here. I don't want to necessarily speak for a whole generation, but one thing I would say is people think Gen Zers are lazy, man. Oh, they don't want to go to work. They don't want to work these days. And I just don't necessarily think that's true. Like, you can't apply that for a whole generation. You can't. Yeah, you just can't. I think that's misrepresented. I think some people think it's entitled that, oh, I want to take a PTO or I want to have these benefits and snacks. But I think it's just like changing standards of the day. Ultimately, like the standards of the workplace have changed, and this is just what a new generation has. And I think it might be part of it is the old generation kind of like, hey, I wish I had that. So I was able to make do without it. Why can't you?
Exactly, 100%. I just recently had a conversation with my sister in regards to something that's kind of going on in the family with one of the members of the family. And they are getting personally frustrated with how things are going at work. But they're at the point that it's like, okay, enough. I'm going to start looking for something else. And my sister's approach is, sometimes you just have to deal with it. This is work. This is how work is. And I countered her and said, you know what? But that's where I think this generation gets it right. Why tolerate with things that don't make sense? And why not stand up for your rights? And yeah, if that means that you have to go out and find another job, go ahead and find another job. But at least you're standing for, it doesn't have to be the same way every single time, right? It has to evolve. And I think the Gen Zers are definitely pushing that envelope. Adrian, what are your thoughts?
I'm thinking, is Anna actually a Gen Zer and we don't know it?
I wish.
I mean, I would actually align so much with Dylan, actually. I mean, yeah, I'm Gen Y, but I'm like this group isn't like a lazy group at all. Like, Dylan is such a prime example of someone that he gets in the office early, he leaves late. Like, this dude is just like absolutely crushing it. So to put that like title on like a whole generation is like absurd.
I agree. And so let me ask this. Maybe there's a story that you can share. Dylan, if you can give me a moment where you felt misread at work, what happened? What did you wish they understood about your intent? If not here or a previous employee, but an example that you could share.
Yeah, I think one of the previous places that I worked at, there are times when I would speak up about something and I would want it, oh, maybe we should do it this way. And I'm used to this idea of like empowerment in the workplace. Like, you have this idea to speak your mind, etc. But I don't want to be misconstrued as someone who complains. Right? I think the team that I worked with was great. And I just don't want to come across as someone who's a complainer, right? I think that's when people might associate with our generation. I think it might be on my part to make sure that's very clear in the tonality. But ultimately, I don't want to see as a complainer. I kind of want what's best for the project, and ultimately for me to know that I still own it. Like, yeah, I still need to do my work. I still need to do a good job at the end of the day, no matter what.
Right. No, that's great. And Adrian, from your thoughts, like, what's your take on it? Like, what's fair criticism and what's just outdated thinking? Like, if you were to kind of think about leading across generations, what's one adjustment you've made that actually helped?
You know what, like, hearing Dylan's response right now, like, kind of inspired this one. Like, he said, like, they feel like empowered to kind of speak your mind about it. Like, I wonder if this is a generation thing for me. Like, I felt more like the norm or what you were supposed to do is just kind of like fit in or just kind of like blend into
Mm.
what the rules are, you know? So like speaking my mind was more like a just like put that away. Like you're supposed to like adapt to like what the standards are. Like you gotta do that. So that's something that I'm learning to adjust actually. Like when my gut says something is like off, like, hey, actually like lean into that. Like this Gen Z like actually is onto something about this. You don't just have to fit the cookie cutter standard of whatever company you go into.
Exactly. And you're absolutely right. Like when I compare, like millennial mindset versus, Gen Z, that's where I see like I think there's power in being able to stand up and voice your opinion. It also drives the company in a positive way, right? Because you have this free flowing of innovative ideas that are coming in and that are being accepted and can be flushed out, as opposed to everybody mind your P's and Q's and we just have to do what we need to do because this is the nature of the job.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I think we're kind of moving into our final section here, and this talks about pressure, emotions, and what the future, looks like. So when you're stressed, what do you do? Do you talk it out, go quiet, compartmentalize, or power through? All right, so this is Adrian. Why don't we start with you? As,
So
as you're laughing.
I'm laughing because I did this morning and last night, and it's actually so helpful. I'm gonna keep doing it. On my car, I have Grok installed. It's like the other like Chat GPT version out there, but there is a therapist mode on it.
Bro.
And I vented all my problems out to it. I just needed someone to like ask me questions to help me flesh out what the heck is happening in here. And we've had like up to 2 hours worth of a conversation. And I feel like I have the answers. I feel confident. Like, let's go. So that is my new way to tackle on stress.
Oh my goodness! And what was that called again?
Grok. GRO.
Oh, Grok. Okay, Grok. I didn't real. Okay, all right. Um, you also have to be careful with that whole therapy thing and make sure it's not making suggestions that are not,
Totally. It makes it
Yeah.
it is not a licensed therapist, and I am making clear I'm not taking any like crazy advice, but just it asking questions to help me like flesh out like what's in here. Like that is so it was powerful. It's super.
I love that. I love that. That's fantastic. Okay, so Dylan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we may flip generations on this one because my two things, and I think it's so different for so many people my age I've met, is really either just like go through it, like figure it out yourself, or the second thing is I text or I call my friends and family and just kind of want to talk through it.
Yeah, talking through it is always the best way to kind of solve that issue. If you were to give me the last moment you felt at capacity, what triggered it and what did you do next? Right? So sometimes it's really hard for you to be able to say, I'm I'm done. Like I can't do anything else. How would you tackle that? Dylan, let me start with you first.
Yeah, that's tough. It's tough to think of a specific moment when I felt at capacity, but I think, I guess I would say it's about kind of reworking my schedule in a way that works for me. Ultimately, if you're at capacity, you have so many things going on, you need to prioritize. So sometimes I'll have to drop things off if they're not yielding the results I need, kind of auditing my day essentially. So then I do have capacity for the things that I want to do. But I'm constantly in a state of thinking like, okay, this is what I did today. Like, what can I do tomorrow that's better? How can I change my lifestyle to be better? I think it's something that is important for everyone to go through and to just constantly think about what can you do to be better. Yeah.
You're my hero, Dylan. Like I want to do that. I feel like I reach capacity like every like 2 weeks. Like I feel like that's because I can definitely do so much better in the organizing department. Like I will start off incredibly strong and like excited and I'm a gung-ho kid about something. And then I just lose track of like every channel that's out there. So every like couple weeks I just need to like regroup and go, okay, this is where you prioritize. This is what your calendar looks like. Focus there. Stop getting so scattered, right?
Right. And that's a great way to, it's, I always call it hit the pause button, right? Hit the pause button. Let's evaluate where are we, what's a priority, what's not a priority, and then figure out how to tackle it from there. If we had our crystal ball and we were to look ahead, what's going to change most about sales and work over the next 3 to 5 years? What do you think buyers are going to stop tolerating? Basically, how do you think the whole, like, what is the CEO of tomorrow going to look like?
That's a good question. I mean, truthfully, I think about all these AI like sales agents, like AI, like in general, like how incredible it is. And like, look, I've trained my chat GPT to learn my style of like messaging, and it does a fantastic job just right now. And this is the worst it's going to be. Like, to think just a few years ahead, not surprised it's going to like blow like people out the water for that. So I feel like AI may replace like a good chunk of like sales folks, but maybe the salespeople that do remain, they're going to be completely focused on like in-person like interactions. Like, purely that's all they're going to focus on.
I do think there's a lot of validity in that, where it's going to be more of that consultative sales and it's going to be that face-to-face time. Dylan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll speak on two of the points. So one of them I think was about what buyers will tolerate. I think the trend is so down on all the messaging outreach. They'll tolerate the slop and the slop and the slop that they keep getting. And so I'm betting on trust and relationships even more and more. And so how can you stand out as a real person? What channels are those going to be? So social channel like LinkedIn, I'm betting and other social channels are going to be on the rise in the next 5 years. The other thing is, I think everyone will, especially I mean white collar sales roles, I think will shift to being a manager of a set of AI agents. I think it's not a take I invented. It's something I hear a lot from other sales leaders, where we're starting to automate, but I think the next phase is the agents that can actually go and do something. Like, okay, here is my target customer. Agent, you figure out what research I need to do on them, right? And then I communicate to my email agent like, hey, write me the right email that I need for this, and make sure you include a couple emojis at the end and something personal, because that's my style. And then email agent's going to go and write that email to them. So I think we all have to figure out kind of how to be a manager, a delegator, understanding how to like manage tasks, because I think the teams that win will be the ones who can use these agents the best in a few years.
Agreed. It's all about, I think, adapt and adopt, right? Like who can get there first. So as we're kind of wrapping up our session here, if you're listening and you're leading teams, here's the takeaway. Don't assume you're managing the same generation you grew up in. Ask better questions, design better feedback, and stop confusing different communication styles with lower commitment. And if you're a Gen Zer, here's the other side of it. Don't assume people are trying to hold you back. Make your intent visible. Say the why out loud. You'll get further faster. One action you can take on Monday: ask your team when you're under pressure what support actually helps you and what makes it worse. The one question will save you a lot of friction. We're all trying to win. We just have different operating systems. So now let's go through the final phase here. We're going to have a lightning round of quick answers only. And let me start with best way to get your attention in a cold outreach.
Call and say, hey, I'm sorry. Wait, no, I can do this. First thing I say is, look, we don't know each other, but I'm super familiar with what you guys are doing. Quick 20 seconds on the phone.
Okay. And what about you, Dylan?
You message University of Michigan, something about Michigan, you'll have my attention right there.
Awesome. Okay. Most overrated career advice.
Yeah. People say you'll figure it out. No, I think you have to be intentional.
Agreed. Mine is anybody that says this is going to be easy. That's always been wrong. Adrian.
I'm going to take a variation of yours, Anna's. Like, it's going to be worth it. Sometimes it's not going to be worth it.
There you go. Okay. One thing your generation does better than the last:
expressing your feelings.
I think we fit in too hard. I think the boomers, I think they were more bold than us. We need to get out of that one.
Okay. one thing your generation needs to improve?
Being punctual.
Oh, love that. Okay, I'm a stickler for punctuality. Adrian.
Empowered, you can speak your mind. It's okay.
Best sales habit you swear by?
Being kind and being helpful.
Building rapport, keep sending LinkedIn video messages.
Awesome. This was absolutely fantastic. If this episode made you think, send it to a leader or a teammate. And if you want more conversations like this, make sure you subscribe. I have a lot coming. Thank you for being here. See you next time on Pass the Pitch.
Thank you for listening to the Pass the Pitch podcast with Anna Frazzetto. Don't forget to subscribe and share. In our next episode, we talk to Chris Mader on why change is a choice and growth starts when you make the adjustment. See you then.